This year, the cicada hatch is supposed to be absolutely epic. So having a cicada pattern in your fly box is a must-have this year. So today we're going to tie Bam's cicada. So let's grab some materials and get to tying. Today we're going to be using this TMC 8089 in size 2. This is going to let us keep that hook point clear of all of that foam that's going on this fly. Now we can get our hook securely in our Wolf, Indiana Atlas vise. And we're going to get started with some Veevus power thread. This is in 140 denier. I'm going to start at about 1/3 of the way back from the hook eye. With this cicada pattern, we're not too worried about bulk, so luckily we don't have to worry too much about thread wraps. We don't want to go crazy, but you don't have to be super careful with them either. So to get started, we're going to tie in a couple strips of 2mm foam. Tie one in up top. Trim a nice little triangle shape at the front of this foam to kind of help get it tied in. So this part can be a little bit difficult because these hooks are sharp and they will keep kind of grabbing that foam. So I just kind of try to situate it on the bottom as best I can. Your thread wraps will try to spin this around the hook shank. So just try your best to kind of keep it where it needs to be and get it all the way back a little bit into the hook bend. You need to go a little bit further. There we go. The rotary feature on this Atlas vise really does help out with tying in all these materials. So to help us get more bulk in this body, we're gonna throw in some ice dub in UV black. It's gonna kind of be an underbody of this foam, so we're not too worried about how well it's dubbed. I actually just kind of get clumps of this dubbing on there. That's a pretty good, nice, big, juicy cicada body. So then, I like to start with the bottom one actually. So I go ahead and rotate this around so that I can get this bottom part of the body tied in. Some nice securing wraps. You can as well, if you want, you can, to help that foam a little bit, you can take some super glue and just put some super glue in that dubbing really quick. And then when you fold this over, it's really gonna stay put for you. So again, just some nice securing wraps here. And I like to just make sure it's nice and secure. Before I come in and snip those foam strips off and save them for later. Just make sure this is good and tied in here. So at this point, I like to just do a quick whip finish. Trim out this black thread. This just makes this next step easier. To finish off the body, I like to use this Veevus iris in fluorescent orange. Now, if you don't have this, you can just use some fluorescent orange thread. But I like to come back here. So I come back here and I just make some segmentations. So I get some wraps. Come in here, trim this off close. There you can see just a nice segmentation. I come in here, put a half hitch right where those segmentations are. Pull that nice and tight. And then I can come in here, trim that off close. And then that'll stay there for now. And I'm going to come back when I'm done with 3 segmentations. And I'm going to hit them all with some UV resin. So there, just get a nice segmentation. Throw a half hitch right on all of that. Looks like I could trim those off a little closer. And I like to throw one more right up here at the front. Again, nice little half hitch. And I just come in. nice thin coat of UV resin around all of those wraps. Use the rotary function on this Atlas vise to just get that light on all of those segmentations. We can attach our black thread again. Get right up to the body because we are going to use some of this Montana Fly Company Widow's Web in white. So if you look at cicadas, they have long and big wings. So we're going to use a decent chunk of this Widow's Web for our wing. And we're going to get it tied in the middle, on the top, add a little bit of an angle. Something like that. So it's just coming off to one side. Wrap forward and then bring the far side up and over. Thread tension will help bring it over to the far side of the hook on each side of the fly. So with this cicada wing, I like to bring it back. They typically, their wings come back a decent amount from the body, so I'll come back about maybe half a body's half a body's worth, and then trim that off. Now I'll come in with just some orange rubber legs. This has some black flecks in it. We'll get these tied in. I like to just kind of tie them all in on one side that are not wanting to cooperate. So I'll just get them tied in all on one side, take half of them to the far side of the hook, just like I did with the Widow's Web for the wing, and then just hold those rubber legs on each side and get them secured back. Since we saved these 2mm strips of foam, these are gonna get put back in, one on top and one on the bottom. Bring that right up to the hook eye. So that it comes back just like that. Rotate everything around. Tie this one in on the bottom. The same just up to that hook eye. And make sure it's tied in nice and tightly. Now I like to tie in a foam cylinder in orange. I tie this up right here at the front. Just kind of figure eight, tie this in. This is going to be the eyes of our cicada. Some nice figure eights, and it'll stay put. So now to just kind of clean everything up, I go back to my ice dub. Another big clump of ice dub. This is going to help give some body to our head of the fly here. Eyes looking good. That's all looking great. So we'll start with the bottom here. Fold this in. Get some wraps around the bottom. Turn it over. Get that top right on top there. Nice firm wraps to get that nicely secured. Show those eyes how we like them. Now is a great time to come in here, trim those eyes. I like to trim them a little bit longer than the body just so that they're nice and visible. And now that'll make it a lot easier to sneak a whip finish around the head here. Make that nice and tight. And now we can trim off that foam there. Trim off the foam on the bottom here. Get our legs, get them trimmed to a length that you like. I like them to be fairly long and all over the place for the bass. Trim the corners off those foam pieces just to make that look a little better. But then there you have a nice foam cicada pattern that's going to float all day and catch you tons of fish in this massive cicada hatch. So grab some materials and tie some up. Thanks for watching.